If you've been scrolling through endless generator listings, watching YouTube unboxings, and still feel stuck wondering whether any of them will actually keep your lights on when the grid quits, you're not alone. I've been in that exact spot comparing power ratings, price tags, and the endless promises of run forever while trying to picture how a unit would actually fit in my garage and my daily routine. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to break down the Champion Power Equipment 100177 8.5 kilowatts home standby generator, show you where it shines, where it trips up, and help you decide if it's the right safety net for your home. First off, let's talk about the problem most people are trying to solve. A sudden outage can turn a normal evening into a scramble for flashlights, a cold shower, or a dead refrigerator. The biggest fear is buying a generator that either can't handle the load you need or ends up sitting idle because it's too complicated to start. With the Champion model, the promise is simple: a plug-and-play standby unit that fires up on its own, runs 24/7 without you having to refuel, and switches the house over automatically. Those are exactly the three things that separate a true standby system from a portable unit you have to drag out of the garage and start manually. What makes this unit different from a cheap portable generator is the integrated 50-amp automatic transfer switch, ATS50. The switch is outdoor rated, NEMA 3R, meaning it can handle rain, dust, and the occasional snow flurry without you having to run a separate piece of hardware. In practice, that means when the utility power drops, the ATS senses the loss, tells the generator to start, and then seamlessly routes the power to the circuits you've pre-selected. No more standing on a ladder, plugging cords into a makeshift panel, or worrying about overloading a single outlet. For families with essential medical equipment, home offices, or a refrigerator that can't afford a warm-up cycle, that automatic handoff is a real peace-of-mind feature. Now, who should consider this generator? If you own a modest-sized home, say, 1,500 to 2,500 square feet with a typical mix of appliances, HVAC, and a few dedicated circuits for things like a sump pump or home office, the 8.5 kilowatts rating hits a sweet spot. The unit can comfortably handle a central air conditioner on a mild day, a refrigerator, a few lights, and a couple of electronics at the same time. Homeowners who live in colder climates will also appreciate the Sub-Zero start system. The 24-volt starter is engineered to crank the engine down to -22F. Which eliminates the dreaded generator won't start because it's too cold scenario you see in wintertime forums. On the flip side, if you have a large estate with multiple HVAC units, a workshop with heavy machinery, or you want to power an entire house during a heat wave when the AC pulls a massive load, you'll quickly run into the 8.5 kilowatts ceiling. In those cases you'd be better off looking at a 12 kilowatts or larger unit, even if it means spending more upfront. Also, if you're renting or you don't have a dedicated space in your garage or basement to mount a permanent generator, the installation requirements for this model could be a hurdle. The gullwing enclosure is designed for easier service, but you still need a qualified electrician to hook up the ATS and secure the fuel line, something not everyone wants to coordinate. Let's get into the practical strengths. The most obvious is the quiet operation. Champion uses a low-tone muffler paired with a sound-dampening liner, which brings the noise down to a level you can almost ignore. In my own test, the generator was audible only when I stood right next to the unit. From the living room it was barely a hum. That matters if you have close-by neighbors or you simply don't want the generator to dominate the soundscape during a storm. Another strength is the maintenance accessibility. The gullwing doors swing open fully, exposing the engine and oil filter without you having to crawl under a tight hood. Changing the oil or checking the spark plugs becomes a quick chore instead of a full-day project. A hidden trade-off, however, is the fuel system. The generator runs on gasoline, which means you have to keep a fresh tank on hand and rotate the fuel every few months to avoid degradation. For many homeowners that's a manageable habit, but if you're looking for a diesel or propane-only solution to avoid refilling, this unit won't fit the bill. Also, the automatic transfer switch, while a solid piece of hardware, adds a small amount of delay, usually around 10 seconds from the moment the utility fails to the moment the house is repowered. That's plenty of time for a few lights to flicker, but it's not instantaneous. If your primary concern is keeping a critical medical device on an absolute uninterrupted supply, you may want a UPS backup in addition to the generator. Cost-wise, the Champion 8.5 kilowatts sits in the middle of the standby.